Next up, at UFC 302, we have a rematch. A rematch like 6 years in the making. A rematch of a century that everybody has been calling for. And I'm overemphasizing and dramatizing the fact that this is a rematch because I don't think it matters at all. Like, not even a little bit that this is a rematch, because a lot of things has happened to both of their careers since then. But people like to point it out. They like to remind you that this is a rematch and that Niko Price did technically knock out, and by technically, I mean had him unconscious,
while he was
Alex
high as
Morono. Alex Morono. Yeah, because then he popped for weed. The weed. But we do have a rematch. Niko Price trying to double up his wins against Alex Morono. Niko Price 15-7 overall. Only 1-3-1 in his last 5. He is coming off that finished loss to Robbie Lawler, taking on Alex Morono, 24-9 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He is alternating wins and losses. And this is an interesting fight because Niko Price is a very, very dangerous guy. He's got multiple knockouts standing and 2 of them off his back. He will be a highlight reel forever, knocking people out off his back the way that he did. He's a ton of fun to watch. He has no problem putting himself in harm's way for our entertainment. And he's got skills. But for the most part, he's coming out there, he's swinging, he's putting on a show, and he's just trying to win these fights while having fun. You're not going to expect a lot of clean technique, but you can expect somebody that will come forward and fight as hard as he possibly can until his body gives out on him. And he has been in a couple of wars. He's been hit a couple of times, but he will continue to move forward no matter what. He's coming off that loss to Robbie Lawler. I was there in person. The wife got me floor seats to that fight for my 40th birthday, and I have never...
Jesus Christ.
You're like, you're how old? I have never, of any event I've ever been to, whether, UFC or other sports, concerts, anything I've ever been to, I have never felt a crazier energy than when Niko Price got knocked out. Like, people went nuts. People were crying. They played a Robbie Lawler tribute. It was crazy.
Can we kind of talk about that? Because I'm obviously, you know me, I'm not a. And it's going to sound like it's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic right now, but I'm not like a conspiracy guy. It's like, it is what it is, all this stuff.
It was too perfect.
I've watched that, dude. I watched that over and over this past weekend. Dude, that's the craziest shit in the world, dude. He just like, and he goes, oh, just completely just fall. It's like, Jesus Christ. That's like the most, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but every time I watch that, I'm like, you okay. All right. I watched Phil Rose smoke this dude, and Niko just kind of stumbles backwards and tries to fight back. Yeah. Robbie Lawler goes, yeah. And then goes, yeah, just barely hits him on the temple.
Robbie Lawler does hit hard, so it's like not like it was.
Those were just boom and boom. I mean, he had him in a clinch. He just pop, pop.
Well, either way, if it was a dive, I'm happy for it because it was awesome. Being there live for that was awesome. Yeah. The stretcher was a little much, but he's taking on Alex Morono, and what makes this fight interesting is because Alex Morono is very talented and very inconsistent. He's a pretty well-rounded guy. He's got that awkward striking style, but it can be effective. Typical. He's pretty durable for the most part, right? He got finished a couple of times, but for the most part, he's pretty durable. He's a tough guy. He's got some power. He actually dropped Niko multiple times in their fight, and he just happens to be an incredibly high-level BJJ black belt. He doesn't use it. He barely ever wrestles. But it's there. Heaven forbid he should need it. Alex Morono is the better fighter in this matchup. He just is. Does he have as much power? No. Niko Price has way more power. But Alex Morono should be more durable. Alex Morono should have the better jiu-jitsu. I'm positive has the better jiu-jitsu. Alex Morono probably has the better, just technical striking. So because of all those things, Alex Morono should win this fight. My only caution to you is kind of an untrustworthy guy. Kind of goes out there and makes fights closer than they need to be. He should have ran through Court McGee, and that was a razor-thin decision. Like razor-thin. He should have blown through that guy, and he didn't. And he should blow through Niko Price, and he might not. But Alex Morono is going to be the pick because you got to pick the better guy in this fight. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Alex, the great White. The great White Morono. He is I know both these guys very well. Niko was my lock of the week. I had Phil Rowe, the Philly Fresh Phil Rowe against Niko. So I know Niko well. By the way, everyone wants to talk about the greatest lock of the week finish of all time. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's got to be Max Holloway, right? Because that was one of the greatest finishes of all time. The answer is absolutely not. Because Max Holloway was going to win that fight regardless. I mean, he was dominating. He was winning that fight. If that fight went a second longer, he was going to win that fight. So the knockout was great. But I'm telling you right now, the greatest lock of the week finish of all fucking time was Phil Rowe against Niko, because that dude Phil Rowe was down. He was out. He was against the ropes, and all of a sudden lands a left hand, and it's like, oh, here we go, Philly. Niko started backing up, and Phil got the fucking finish, and that, to me, was the greatest lock of the week finish of all time. I know Niko well. Alex Morono, also a former lock of the week against Buckley. Whoops. He was a lock of the week against Buckley, and I am no longer a Buckley hater. I picked Buckley against Nursel.
Even with all his Twitter bullshit, he's going out of his way to make people not like him.
Yeah, he is. It is not a good situation. That's what somebody was like. I think somebody even tweeted, was like, somebody needs to grab your phone because you're ruining all this momentum that you had. Everyone loved you, and it's like now you're just tweeting just random bullshit. He was like getting into it with Cub Swanson. I even tweeted Buckley. I sent Buckley because he was like, you're a hoe too, or something about the Cub Swanson. Cub is that's my day one. That's my dog. You want to talk about my favorite fighter of all time? I know I got the Ryan Hall shit. Cub Swanson is my number one, and I can't wait. 303, he's fighting on that card. But I tweeted at Buckley too. I was like, hey, you're talking to my guy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. that gift from Joe Dirt. But anyway, I know Alex Morono well. Alex Morono should win this fight. He's good enough on the feet to win a striking battle. If Niko takes him down, he's a crazy dangerous guy on the ground. But I'm with you, man. Alex Morono at this point, I don't know how anybody can bet him, especially at, flip the slide back, what is it, minus 230, minus 230, I mean, minus 200. In my mind, I would price this fight, Alex Morono, minus 125, minus 150, because he's just not... Yeah. He's just not a trustworthy guy. He goes in there. He has a lot of fun. Both these guys have a lot of fun. I'm not saying that Niko's a trustworthy guy as well. They both enjoy fighting. They want to knock people out. Alex Morono, if he was a smart guy, he would be getting takedowns and use his grappling. He doesn't really give a shit. When you listen to his fights, he's at Fortis MMA right down the road with Saif Sayoud. Saif Sayoud the entire time is like, Alex, hands up, Alex, right hand, circle, Alex. He's just screaming at Alex the whole time, and Alex just like does his own thing, is in his own little world, doing his own thing. He's just such a hard guy to trust. But what I think is going to happen is Niko is probably going to come in and wrestle for whatever reason. And on the ground, I think that Alex Morono is going to find something. I think Alex Morono by sub is a sneaky play for this fight. I'm going to pick Alex. He is probably the better fighter. He is. But to bet him, unless you're betting like a little flyer, like a submission bet or something like that, you're going to be clutching your pearls probably for 15 minutes. But I'm going with Alex. I love Alex. I think Niko as well. Both fun guys, great guys.
Oh, they're both very entertaining.
Yeah, and it should be a fun, entertaining fight, but it's probably going to be way too close for Alex to be able to bet on him, but he's going to be my pick.
Yeah, I mean, the last fight is all you need. Like, Alex Morono is a ton of fun to watch. Good fighter. I love watching him. I picked him against Matt Semmelsberger, 2 years ago at this point. Was riding high off of that for a while, but then he will lay an egg out of nowhere. Even, like I said, he should have torn through Court McGee. Shouldn't have been
Circle left, Alex. Circle left, Alex. Avoid the power, Alex. They just screaming the entire time, and Alex just like, just on his little tippy toes, looking for that big check left.
I do think Alex wins, obviously, and if he wins, it's probably by finish.
I don't know.
On the feet or the ground. I mean, I think Niko Price has been hit a few too many times, and I see on Facebook, I trained with him years ago, long before this show, and he was like crazy young, and I lived in Cape Coral, and he lived in Cape Coral, and this was before he was like anything, and they're like, oh, you're a wrestler, can you train with him, can you wrestle with him, can you wrestle with him, and so I did a lot. He was a nice guy, like whatever, show up train, and then he got, I think it was a short notice step up in the UFC, because I tried to get him a Bellator contract, and then he got that short notice step up to the UFC, and he had like the exciting off his back knockout, and that's really where he blew up. but he's willing to go out there and get into wars. But where I'm going with all this is I think I'm friends with him on Facebook or people that he knows or whatever, because I'm constantly seeing like some like bait and tackle vending machine business, some other business. He's
selling worms, huh?
Basically from a vending machine, which is not a terrible idea.
Those were big in Indiana. I don't know if you had bait shops up in.
We had bait shops. All the bait shops closed because now Walmart sells worms. What the hell else?
Walk up into a cooler, a little styrofoam thing of worms.
Yeah.
Go to town.
Huge
chicken
night
livers or whatever you want.
It's funny because like 2 weeks ago, my neighbor was like, "Where do you get worms?" I was like, "Walmart has them." And then the other neighbor's like, make sure you shake them. Sometimes they're dead. It's like, you bunch of fucking hillbillies. But anyway, my point being, like, he's got a lot going on. And I think he's very much in the twilight of his career. Let me show up. Let me have some fun. I'll put on a show. What's peixe?
I think that's Brazilian or Portuguese for fish. I think it's peixe. I think I just did it off the top of my head.
Well, it probably is because in Italian it's pesce.
Ooh.
So it probably is. Yeah, I'm also bilingual, but I don't rub it in everybody's face. And by bilingual, I mean I'm not. Anyway, we both think Alex Morono wins. I think he can win by finish. So those $8,900 in DraftKings might not be the worst money you spend while building a lineup, and you could get some decent value if you are going to go down that prop bet road or even the under 2.5. If you do want to unlock every single thing that we have to offer, including the DraftKings fantasy content, including the FanDuel content, including the picks, the bets, the round line leans, the artificial intelligence that is picking fights at a better accuracy than any human that you know, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It's only $10 for an entire month. Before you go, let me give you $50. Anybody who goes to WeWantPicks.com/bets and signs up with any one of our affiliate partners gets $50 as a thank you. Use the link, sign up, make a deposit. We send you $50 as a thank you.